Hey, what's good, gang? Frenzy here, and today a new tier list dropped for Honkai Star Rail. I wanted to go ahead and take some time to go ahead and go over it and really give my opinion towards it. I mean, I can't really give an opinion towards everything because, well, I don't have everybody, but let's go ahead and see what this tier list is saying, who is the best units right now, and who are the worst. We're gonna go ahead and break this down into categories. So, first off, we have damage, and number one, S plus by herself is Seele. My biggest opinion with this one, honestly, is I agree 100%. And secondly, man, I remember when Seele was the first limited unit, and you know what people said? People said skipper, she's a DPS, she's gonna get power crept so very quickly, blah 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 blah. Personally, as a gacha enjoyer, of course I was gonna go ahead and sum up the first one, man, just cause like, hey, listen, I'm gonna have a good time regardless, and I wasn't sure if Honkai Star Rail was gonna be a game that I stuck with. So yeah, Seele definitely is somebody who was worth wishing for, summoning for, whatever you want to call it. 100%. Claire, I actually have no experience with, but I believe it. Counterattacking is pretty cool. Jing, I actually do have him, and I will say, definitely, yeah, a very good erudition unit because he does pretty good damage even if you don't have a huge field to deal with. If you don't have 3-5 units to attack, he can still really put out a lot of damage. Only downside is if he is CC'd, he loses a significant amount of damage. So that is like one small thing, but other than that, man, definitely pretty good. Welt, you know what? Am I the only one who hasn't seen a single Welt? I don't have any friends who have Welt, so add me if you do have Welt. I haven't seen any supports with Welt, so I really cannot say how he is as a unit. I hardly know what he does. He's imaginary to me, literally. Ice Boy, you know, man, this is my opinion towards Ice Boy. People have been sleeping on him for like so very long. He's a really good unit, man. Really powerful, a lot of damage. Not as good as Seele because he doesn't have a reset, but as far as like just pure damage, I feel like he's pretty far up there, like right alongside with her. Very easy to build, a lot of innate crit. And I would say if you can pair him with a Bronya, which we'll talk about later, yeah, very good DPS, man. Like I said, highly slept on. Now the below tiers, when we get into like the A, B, and C, I won't have an opinion on like a lot of these units, man. Dan, very good starter unit. I can't really say much beyond that. Himiko being an A makes sense because like I love Himiko. Literally my favorite unit, but yeah, she's not really that good unless you're going specifically against fire weakness units. And when you do, man, she can do some amazing combos. She can absolutely wipe the floor. You just got to make sure she has a lot of damage and stuff like that. She needs help, but not bad at all. And I'm pretty sure anybody in A tier is not bad. Very far from it. Hook, no experience. Su Shang's actually really good. Pretty much a better physical DPS than Trailblazer, which is all the way down there in C tier. Deserved C tier, by the way. Arlen, bro's like John Cena. I can't see him. I don't see him. I forget he exists. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sampo, bro, probably get better once Kafka comes out. I think Sampo's gonna be maybe a little bit higher, maybe A tier, but not bad. Just doesn't really do much. Herta, I really don't know anything about her. She's, you know what? I'll say this: Trailblazer physical, and also Herta. They suffer from the same thing, man. They basically do nothing utility-wise except for potentially damage, and even then their damage is underwhelming. So that's probably why they ended up in the C tier by themselves, man, just because like they offer no utility. You'll see actually one thing about this whole tier list. That thing is the fact that if you're a defensive support or defensive support, there's nobody who's B or C tier yet. And that's because utility is very important when it comes to this game right here. Just to go ahead, I guess, let's go ahead and look at the offensive support tier list. S tier, Bronya. Makes sense, man. I can already tell y'all one thing. I've played a lot of turn-based strategy games. Advancing forward, getting extra turns, speed, always going to be, not always, but more than likely it's going to be top tier, depending on how good it actually is. Like if it's 10%, maybe not, but it depends. Bronya, she gives any unit you want a turn. You almost pretty much do build your team around her, because your main DPS doesn't need speed when you have Bronya, so you can go ahead and just use her to output massive damage with your main DPS, give them more turns if they do have decent speed on them. So yeah, Bronya's just one of those units where she's so very good, and ultimate gives like more stats to attack, crit. So Bronya's gonna be top tier for a very long time. You might eventually see other units who have advanced forward, and they'll probably be up there with her depending on how much they advance forward their units, you know. So that's like one big thing to definitely love about Bronya. Silver Wolf, once again, I love her. She is one of my favorite summons so far. She makes it so that you don't even have to really think about team comp as much. It's good to think about it, but you don't really have to think about it as hard. If you do a mono team, sure. If you do a duo, like I would say duo at most element, and you have a pretty good team with Silver Wolf. And plus she has debuffs on top of debuffs. She does good damage. She does a lot. She really does a lot, man. Just all around great unit. Pila, I don't really know her name too well. I actually have a build though. She's really good, man. She's really solid. I built her pretty early because I liked her abilities, man. Defensive break is always gonna be very nice, just making it so that your units deal more damage. Ting Yong, I haven't built anyone yet, or haven't built her yet, so I can't really say much about her. Yukong, I'm pretty excited for. I'm actually building Yukong right now. I'm expecting her to be like S tier for me. I'm not gonna lie. I see a lot of potential in her. I like her design. She's imaginary. So for me personally, I would say this is like the only thing I really disagree with so far. I think Yukong's gonna be very nice just because she's imaginary, and then like sure, maybe she can't really be fully utilized yet because there's no imaginary, well, there's Welt. There's not enough imaginary units, but I think as we get more imaginary units, she's gonna be so much better. So yeah, like I said, for me personally, S tier because she is literally the only imaginary unit I have. Asta, she's good. Speed, yeah, she does that. She's cool. I don't really have much to say about her. I don't have a build. So let's go ahead and go over this tier list for defensive support units. We have Jeopard, which makes sense. I have a lot of friends who have Jeopard. I personally don't have Jeopard, but anytime I use him, he is good enough. See, the thing is, right, I'm gonna say something. March 7th has an amazing shield, but it's only for one unit. That's a big problem. Jeopard has a massive shield for the whole team, so that makes him almost as good of a healer as anybody else. Basically, damage mitigation is so good. Jeopard's damage mitigation is so good. You oftentimes don't even need a healer when you have Jeopard, so that's why he's S+ tier. Is it Lucho? I call him Luchador. I've played with him a little bit through events and stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Damage, great heals, critical heals when you need them in case a unit like drops and he sees. Wait, I guess he doesn't heal if he sees. Yeah. So anyway, point being, if enemy gets off a massive attack and puts your unit into a critical position, he can definitely save him. He just does a lot, man. He does a whole lot. He does heals, he gets rid of debuffs, he buffs. Yeah, top tier unit, man. I'm kind of sad I'm not gonna get him. I'm poor, all right, so I can't afford him, but he's definitely gonna be a top tier unit to have for probably quite some time. Now, this is like the second one I probably disagree with, is Bailu being moved down a tier, and let me explain. Now, Luchador here, he does do a lot more, and I would say all around a better unit than Bailu. I know it seems kind of like ridiculous to disagree when I say that, but what I mean is Bailu still is the best pure healer. Like her heals, I think, are much better than Luchador. Even though his are very good, she has a revive, so forget like, you know, being critical. She's gonna go ahead and bring a whole unit back to life if they go down. So Violet to me is still S+ tier, just very different in how they function. Like I said, I feel like Luchador in a lot of situations is gonna be better because it just has more utility, but purely healing wise, health wise, Bailu I think is a better solo healer. And this is one that a lot of people are kind of arguing and disagreeing with. March 7th, Natasha, Trailblazer Fire. People feel a certain type of way about to be on the same tier, and honestly, I'm gonna say it. I'm tired of the March 7th slander. I mean, March 7th is an amazing unit, starter unit. Same tier as Dan at the very least as far as like supports go. Shield is massive, yo. Freaking, and her taunt on the shield is very useful. It can be very useful at the very least. Because once again, that shield's so good that like more than likely, even if you put on your weakest unit, they're gonna be protected perfectly fine from a round of enemy attacks. And she has great utility with her ultimate and her counter attack. So listen, once again, I'm tired of it, man. March 7th, she's a good unit, man. She's not B, she's not C, A, damn near S tier. Not quite, because Bailu's there, but still very good. Natasha being the same tier, people disagree with, but like, I feel like Natasha only competes. Well, Natasha's only better if you're talking like Eidolon 0 March 7th and Eidolon 6 Natasha. The only 4-star healer right now, kind of bad. They need to go ahead and push out another one. We need more 4-star healers, man. Everyone deserves heals, okay? So Natasha, yeah, she's on the same tier where she's very good. Great support, clutch. Definitely somebody you need on your team if you have none of these up here. But like I said, March 7th, don't sleep on her, she's very good. And then Trailblazer Fire, I see them going down as time goes on, honestly. I see them going down to B, C tier because Trailblazer Fire is fine. I have mines built actually, just they're not great, they're not good. They serve a purpose of being somebody you can rely on for defense. Has a good taunt. Most of the taunt, I guess you could say, is the main thing. Pretty good damage for a defensive support, decent damage. So that's one thing. It's a mixed bag where it's like, if I need a good defensive support, I'm taking Natasha March 7th over Trailblazer. If I need damage or utility, I'm probably taking somebody else. So doesn't really excel at anything, but it's also not a terrible unit in my opinion. Just doesn't do enough well. The shield is decent. It's going to mitigate some damage. Like I said, the taunt is going to probably mitigate most damage, honestly. And like I said, the ultimate and the auto attack is, or the single attack, the basic attack, there we go, basic attack is pretty good, at least when imbued. So beyond that, man, yeah, this is the tier list right here. Tell me what y'all think. Tell me what y'all think they got wrong. Me personally, I think it's a pretty good tier list. I mean, I don't really have much to disagree with. I don't have everyone built. I'm not that rich, so it's like I can't really comment on every single unit. So that's why I need y'all, man, to go ahead and spit some game to me. Tell me, like, what am I missing when it comes to these units? Who do you think is higher? Who do you think needs to be lower? Like I said, my personal opinion of, I think the only two I would really, actually only one. Bailu is like the only one. I'm a Bailu simp, I love her, I ain't gonna lie, her design is so cute to me. Yukong I think is good for me, so personally me S tier, because I feel like I can do quite a bit with her. But you know, I understand if she's not for you. So beyond that, man, like, comment, subscribe if you want some more Honkai Star Rail content. Peace out, take it easy.